Hi and welcome back for the second round. I win the roll, choose to play, and I can't really mulligan this hand. Like, it's got a really good curve, both the colours, and decent spells, so even though it has no infect guys, as soon as I draw an infect guy, it's pretty good, because it's got bladed pinions on it, and I've also got 2 effective removal spells, although Tumble Magnet obviously runs out, which is why I don't like it, but anyway. So like, if I draw a 4-drop, then I can play it turn 3, which is pretty good, but any infect guy I draw has opinions on it, so I don't think I can ever mulligan that hand. Opponent leads with Origin Spellbomb, which is kind of annoying against Fume Spitter, but I mean, I'm not going to be attacking after this turn anyway. I also drew Cyst Bearer, which you probably noticed, and which was quite a nice draw. So yeah, I've now got a Cyst Bearer with pinions on it, which is like, it's like a 4/3 flyer first strike on turn 3 effectively. So yeah, I think even though that's obviously being results based, I think the keep was justified. And Sunspit Shikari, which is ironically bad against Infect, because the lifelink is always irrelevant. And I draw a land, so Cyst Bearer it is. My opponent takes a while in this game, so apologies for the couple of lengthy turns. He took 3 minutes to turn up to the round, so I guess he had something going on. But yeah, the board's looking fairly good for me at the moment, because he can't really attack into Cyst Bearer. And then if he does get an equipment, then obviously the life gain is really irrelevant, when otherwise it would be winning him the race. But he has a Lenient Arbiter, so more 2/2s for 2, and more cards I don't really care about. He obviously doesn't attack here. I mean, he can attack and either have or bluff the Seize the Initiative, but either way Fume Spitter is just going to cancel it and he's going to 2-for-1 himself. So there's just no way he can possibly attack there. I mean, normally you'd think he was thinking about attacking because of Seize the Initiative, but because this guy's taking a while, I think he was just taking a while, not thinking about attacking. So I draw another land and play the Bladed Pinions, and I can start attacking now, really. I mean, the race is equal. I'm doing 2 poison to 4 non-poison on the attack back, so if I attack first then I'm winning the race. And I've also got both Fume Spitter and Tumble Magnet to hold him back, so I'm fine to start attacking here even though the Cyst Bearer holds off his team. So he bash. Again, it looked like he was thinking about attacking with Shikari as though he's going to hold it on defense or something, but I don't have any other poison attackers, so we can just assume he was being slow, not thinking. He pops his Origin Spellbomb, which is really good here because it means he's either got all lands or all spells because he's digging for something. So yeah, the race is looking pretty good now because he just skipped a turn effectively, but I drew a land, so that's not great, so I'm kind of skipping a turn too. But yeah, like I said, I can just make Tumble Magnet and hope to just get there in 3 more turns. Hold him off with a Tumble Magnet as long as possible. And pass it back. Fume Spitter is annoyingly bad against his 2/2s and free Mir, but I mean, you shouldn't not use a Fume Spitter against a Mir just because they drew a card out of it, because obviously at this point it's a 1/1. You shouldn't look at it as to how they got it, but rather for what it is. But it still kind of feels like, it always feels weird to kill a guy that they drew a card off, but once they've drawn the card, that's in the past, and it's kind of a sunk cost. You should just look at it as a 1/1, so if you want to trade your Fume Spitter for it, do it. At this point the Trigon of Rage makes it kind of awkward because of Tumble Magnet, and I figured I didn't want to tap with Tumble Magnet here, because he's dead in 3 turns, so if he makes a flyer, I've got Tumble Magnet to tap it down for that exact number of 3 turns. So yeah, I didn't want to use a counter on the Tumble Magnet just to save myself 2 damage. Here I go block 2/2 and 2/1, and then use the Fume Spitter that's blocking 1/1 to finish off Shikari. So I don't really care about my guys at this point, I just want to get some attackers off the board. And I draw another land, which is not the greatest draw, but I did draw the Cyst Bearer on turn 2, and that was pretty much the best draw I could have had at the time. Need a contagion engine or something next turn. But I mean, at the moment, it's not that bad for me. I am still technically winning the race, assuming either we both do nothing or we both do something. Like he makes an attacker and I make a blocker or something. I also can start using Tumble Magnet now because he's dead in 2 attacks rather than 3, so I can actually start using Tumble Magnet because I only need 2 activations out of it to tap flyers. So it makes Culling Dace, which doesn't really bother me at all. And then I tap the attacker just to save 2 damage. It's unlikely he has a flyer. There are not a whole lot of flyers at this point that would actually block. I mean, Glint Hawk Idol plus a land or Plague Stinger would be the only 2 I can think of, but I mean, he wouldn't be playing Plague Stinger in this deck anyway, and he might not have the land because he popped his Origin Spellbomb a while ago during main phase. And did he even miss a land last time? I can't remember. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he actually must have missed a land, so that's why I figured he didn't have the land, because I have 2 more lands at him than him at this point. And I draw the other land, which, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but at this point it's almost irrelevant, because I now just need to tap an attacker, and he needs 2 flying blockers or a removal spell, but if he had a removal spell he would have used it, obviously, so he needs to draw the removal spell this turn, because if he had flying blockers he would have played those before, really. So yes, he needs either a pump spell or a removal spell off the top ready to win this at this point. So even though I've just drawn about 5 lands in a row, the Cis Bearer plus Pinions looks like it might just get there. He's thinking for a while though, which is bad, because if he's got no outs he'd just concede. But then this is pretty good that he's doing that, because it means he is digging for outs. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't do that during his turn, actually. I was expecting him to sack a 1-1 at the end of turn, because if he's digging for outs, like if he's got nothing he's digging for outs, so it's better to be able to draw as many cards as possible, I guess. But I might be wrong on that, I suppose. That way he can't actually attack me, so maybe not. But then, I mean, he didn't attack me anyway, so I guess he just figured I'll draw my card and then see what happens. So his way is kind of more explosive but less safe. But yeah, he didn't draw his out, so straight up concedes. Like, it's not even worth attacking and hoping I don't magnet, because he can't actually kill me that turn. So yeah, onto sideboarding. I didn't think about Withstand Death. He's playing black and white, so he might have removal. I didn't actually see that much removal, obviously. I didn't see any because he would have killed the Cis Bearer. And Withstand Death isn't that good against either black or white removal because it's mainly -X or arrest, so yeah, I figure it's just worth keeping my deck as it is. So he puts me on the play, and I don't want to mulligan this hand. I mean, it needs a swamp to be explosive. I'm making a lot of sketchy keeps this match, or this draft even. But I don't think this hand's a mulligan, really. It's got Mirror into Arbalest, which, I mean, if anything, is fine. I mean, obviously it's not great, but it holds off creatures, and I've also got Tumble Magnet to hold off creatures, and if I do draw Swamp, the hand's pretty good. And I've also got a lot of good 4-drops I could be playing, like if I go Coppermere turn 2 and then I draw Tel'Jallad Fallen, then the hand's really good as well. But he makes Fume Spitter, which is pretty bad and used for my Mirror, but I draw the Swamp luckily, so I can play my Fume Spitter. Although it does mean that Culling Dace will gain value. But yeah, it's still looking okay for the Fume Spitter battle. He doesn't attack because he doesn't want to trade, obviously. He wants to get value when I Fume Spit so he can Culling Dace, which is great for me. At this point I just make the Arbalest. I don't want to give him more targets, or give him a target for Fume Spitter, so I just make the Arbalest and keep the Fume Spitter showdown going on. Because it's kind of like the blue-white control mirror here. No one wants to make the first move. Because if he shoots, I obviously shoot another guy, whereas if I shoot, he Culling Daces. So it's a bit awkward as to who spits first. Again, he goes to attack the Spitter and then decides not to for the same reason he did last turn. And I actually take the damage here. I wasn't sure if that was the right play. I was thinking kind of like I was thinking about because I was just thinking at this point my Fume Spitter was basically controlling his board, like he just didn't want to do anything. And so I didn't really want to block, but I didn't figure he'd make a 3-power guy post-combat, because that obviously puts a lot of pressure on me. So at this point, I kind of have to let him make the first move and just equip my Arbalest so he spits and I spit back. And I get like a 1.5 for 1. But I think at this point I'm playing a bit too defensively. Like I probably should have just been loading out guys. I just figured I could get this way. I can get one of his guys to trade with Coppermere and go to 11 and then stabilize from that, and he doesn't get a counter on his Culling Dace off that exchange as well. But I think I was maybe playing a bit too reserved, or like trying to play a bit too techie, because he just keeps laying out creatures and putting pressure on me. Because a double Moriok Reaver, like they're not great cards obviously, but when you're bashing your opponent and they're just making either 1/1s or equipments, then the 3/2 is pretty good. Makes a replica which metal crafts him up and then starts bashing me. And again, I've got like a pretty awkward decision here. I don't really want to lose both my guys, because that way I'm just down to nothing, and Arbalest gets a lot worse. So I figure the best thing I could do is just block with one guy. Then I can Arbalest my guy next turn and play Culling Dace, and then like block, kill a guy, maybe Dace. But I drew Perilous Mirror, which is pretty good. But looking back, I think I probably should have kept the Coppermere, because that way, I block 3/2 with a Contagious Nim. I take 1 less damage, and the Coppermere might be useful later on in the game. But I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference. Like, it's a 1 damage difference, and there's a chance I keep my Nim this way. So I just wanted to keep one guy for the Arbalest, basically, because I'm not really killing the Snapcell Glider otherwise. So yeah, here I just block a Reaver and kill Snapcell Glider, and it kind of looks like I'm back in the game at this point. I don't really want to block the replica, because then my Perilous Mirror doesn't get much value. Like, there's not much black-white can do against 4 life in terms of like direct damage. And so even if he makes like a Hippogriff, I can go next turn, I can go equip my Perilous Mirror with Arbalest, make Culling Dace, shoot the Griffin or the Hippogriff, and then sack it to shoot it again. So at this point, like, my board's actually looking pretty good, and then he makes Nitrogen Sensor. So I'm thinking he's got no reach, but he obviously does. Not much I can do at that point. Obviously I could have played more defensively and not so techily earlier on in the game, but you can't really predict the Nitrogen Sensor out of the black-white no proliferate deck. So yeah, I think about Withstand Death, but I just didn't see any removal, and there's not really anything I want to take out. Okay, no, maybe there is. Oh yeah, I figured it's just, if he's just piling the aggression on me, it's better to just, like, the Trigonal Infestation's really slow, basically. So it's better to actually think about, like, taking it back out there, but obviously he submits. But I figured, if he's piling on impression, tapping it on turn 4 to do nothing is pretty bad, whereas paying a green to, like, save my guy and not trading combat is fine, so I'm fine to do that. I kept 5 cards here. Like, it's a fairly good 5, it's both defensive and aggressive in terms of Perilous Mirror and Cisbearer. But I'd forgotten about the Modo bug, where if you keep 5 lands, you just draw land. So, yeah, first draw is a land, obviously. But if in the first game he couldn't deal with Cisbearer, so hopefully that plan works out again. Assuming I don't just draw land, but then the Modo bug says you do, so there's a land. And I can get in for an irrelevant 1 damage here. There's no way he can punish me for attacking there. So yeah, bam, take 1. It might be relevant in 0.01% of games. And now I just make the Cisbearer that I hope to take him down with. Also, while I'm complaining about my draws, I switched back to the good microphone. I don't know if you noticed or not. I don't know how audible the changing quality is. And there's another land. How lucky or how unlucky. So yeah, when I said I lost my microphone in the last round, I meant I couldn't be bothered to find it. But then I put some effort into finding it, and I did. So I'm just drawing lands, but I have a lot of live draws at this point. Like, Contagion Engine at any point is pretty good, and the Trigonal Infestation I took out would be pretty good. But yeah, Cycler is fine. But like, it's not like he's adding that much pressure just because I've got the defenses. So even though I am just drawing land, it's not too bad. I also draw a Cisbearer here, which is pretty good. Like, that was probably the best creature I could have drawn there. And at this point, I thought about attacking. Like, if I attack, he's just going to trade with the Reaver, basically, which means my next replica, my next Cisbearer gets through his Gamma's Warden, but obviously that plan just falls apart if he makes another guy, so I figured it wasn't really worth doing it until I get something to push through damage, like a Tumble Magnet or a Bladed Pinions. The Pinions that he just could not deal with in the last game. He's thinking at the end of my turn about something. Probably about the drink he's getting from the kitchen or something. So yeah, he draws, plays land, thinks for a while. He's taking quite a while on a lot of turns here. I'm editing some video out, which obviously you don't really know about because I'd edited it out. But just to let you know, if it looks like he's taking a while, he's probably not thinking. Like I mentioned in the first game, when it looks like he's thinking about something, it's probably just because he's taking a while, like he's doing something else. Makes Strider Harness, but he doesn't want to attack, because if he attacks there, I most likely block with Perilous Mare, kill Morok Reaver, and then bash him for 4, so yeah, there's just no profitable attack for him there. I drew a Corpse Cur, which is pretty good. It means I can use a Cisbearer as a double Fume Spitter here, basically. Just send it in for suicide, and then he blocks, and then I regrow it. He's not very near Metalcraft as well, so there's the bonus that if I shrink his 3/5, then it's going to stay 1 power for a while. But he blocks with Reaver because he's fearing Untamed Might there, I guess, so he doesn't want to lose his guy, which I don't really agree with. Like, if I've got Untamed Might, I can just finish off his Reaver and keep my guy, but I don't know. So yeah, he loses the guy and I bring it back, so my double Fume Spitter worked out pretty well. I can stop complaining about drawing lands now because I've just drawn some, like, 2 good spells in a row. But yeah, complaining about. A lot of people have been mentioning that I complain too much in my previous rounds. It's kind of weird because I'm doing the dubbing now. I think you probably noticed, but I probably would be complaining if I were doing in-draft commentary. Like most of the complaining I do is kind of in jest, but it doesn't come off very well across the internet, and because I have quite a toneless British accent with which I dispense my dry British humour. So yeah, a lot of the time I might be joking about something people don't realise, which obviously causes a lot of misunderstandings, but something I've learnt to live with. So yeah, back to the game. After the brief story of my life, back to the game. I draw a Contagion Engine. How lucky! And I'm pretty much straight back in the game now. Like, the game went from 4 lands in a row, no way I'm winning, GG, to, oh, Contagion Engine, that's probably game. Like, the double proliferate is so good on Contagion Engine. It's like shooting someone for 4 and shrinking all their guys and making combat awkward for them every turn. So yeah, I think about attacking it. I figure it's actually better to attack, because now I've got the double proliferate. I mean, I'm losing a guy, sure, but I'm going to double proliferate, kill his flyer, which makes his Gamma's Warden down to 0 power or negative power next turn. And he'll also have poison counters on him, so like the attack there is the only real attack I can make. There's no way I'm holding back there, because it's got so many bonuses of, like, yeah, like I said, shrinking the Warden, getting counters on him, and kind of using my guys while he's tapped out. Because if I tried it next turn he had removal, then I'd get no poison counters on him and the proliferate would lose a lot of value. So yeah, he can't even really attack with Warden now because I block with Perilous Mirror and finish off his flyer because the Contagion Engine shrunk the flyer. So yeah, Contagion Engine is just ridiculously broken, is basically what all this discussion comes down to. It's one of those rares that you think, why did they print this? It's like I saw a Facebook discussion the other day. I think it was Antonino that started it, Antonino De Rosa, and Ben Stark chipping in about how why does every rare flyer in this set have to destroy all your opponent's permanents? So stuff like Carnifex Demon, Horde, Smelter Dragon, Steel Hellkite, Sunburst Angel, they're actually all Plague Winds. And Ben was saying about how rare flyers should just be a 6 mana 5/5 flying, and that's it. So to deal with it, your opponent has to have the removal or double block it. Like, why make it Plague win them? It just ruins the game and removes a lot of skill, which I kind of agree with. But then, if you want a game that's pure skill, like, go play chess. He actually makes a pretty crucial mistake here, and Justice pays me off, because with all that discussion, he attacked Trigon just to get some damage in, and then tapped out for Masticore. So yeah, I draw Silver Replica, and he can't regenerate. Whereas if we just kept up 2 rather than Trigoning, there's actually pretty much no way I'm winning this game. So I rip my bomb, he rips his, but unfortunately for him, he makes a pretty crucial mistake. Like, I attack here because I know he's not blocking with Like, there's actually no way he's blocking with Masticore, because obviously I then double proliferate. So there's a small chance that he doesn't block with Warden, but he does, so obviously I just shrink it. So I go, shrink your guys, poison you, press OK because I don't want to pump Trigon. Shrink your guys, poison you, press OK because I don't want to pump Trigon. And then the Corpse Curve finishes off the Warden. And then I make the Silver Replica, which I obviously already had. I mean, I just slow rolling it because I had no targets, obviously. And kill his Masticore, and he must be kicking himself at this point, because the Trigon to put me from 15 to 12 is so irrelevant when untapping with a Masticore means good game. So yeah, he really misplayed that, and for once Justice paid off, and I drew the perfect card. Like, I couldn't have had a better card at that point. And yeah, at this point, after keeping a 5-land hand and drawing 4 straight land, the game looks pretty good for me. Like, he makes a Strider Harness, sure. Sorry, he makes a Morok Replica and Strider Harnesses it, sure. Doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Like, he can't really even attack. If he attacks and Trigons, I go to 6, so I kind of have to block. So I have to block, pop it, to deal another 2 to the Replica. But then he taps out to draw cards, and he's taking another 2 off Kerr. And then he's got 1 turn to kill me, so like, he can't even attack there. I also don't attack here because I have literally no reason to. If I attack, he blocks, my guy dies, then he gets to draw 2 cards for free. Like, he's going to draw 2 cards anyway, if he's digging for outs, so I have no reason to attack when I'm just losing a guy. Because at every turn he does nothing and I do nothing, he's taking 2 poison, so... Like, sure, Necrogen Sensor doesn't do anything. That's the thing, with Necrogen Sensor, it was really good last game, but most of the time it's just like a char that only hits players, which in Limited is something you should never play. Like, maybe if you need Metalcraft, but I very rarely get Metalcraft decks where I'm really in desperate need for artifacts. Like, obviously it's fine if you got Proliferate as well, but if you got Proliferate, then like, you need a really focused deck for it to be good. So yeah, just go into turn, double poison him. He's down to 1 card in hand, which means he's basically dead. Like, I draw a land, but I can just attack him with both my guys now. And if he has no removal, he's dead. And if he does, his guy shrinks, so I'm not really fearing it on the attack back anyway. Especially because I can proliferate it to death. So yeah, he takes the 2. After some thinking. I don't know what he's thinking about. If he's got removal, obviously he'd use it, so I'm really not sure what he's thinking about there. He sacks it just to draw some cards. I suppose, yeah, that was what he's thinking about, but that makes sense. Then I proliferate for the win. So yeah, I go poison that for fun, poison that for a joke, press OK, and it's finished. So that was very awkward, because what happened is the first few times I had to press OK to go into the second set because it had this Trigon that I wasn't pumping, but because I put a counter on everything that already had a counter on it this time, it just went straight to the second part without telling me. So I give him a window to win the game where I completely messed up, but there's still not a lot he can draw. Like, not even Sunblast Angel would do it. So even though I got a bit cocky and gave him a draw, there's still not much he can draw. So yeah, he still needs to deal with Contagion Engine and both my guys, because he's only got one poison counter left. So yeah, there's a lot of justice opportunities in this game. The first one where he taps out for Mastercore and it paid off for me, and the second one where I get cocky and don't pay attention to how Contagion Engine's working, and unfortunately for this time it didn't pay off for him. After all this chatter and all this thinking, he is just going to concede. Sorry to spoil it, but I mean, he's got 3 cards, but it's unlikely that they deal with all my permanents. Like, he actually needs to have 3 cards that deal with 3 cards. Yep, he concedes after a lot of thinking, and the top of my deck was looking pretty good anyway, so I'll see you for the next round.